From classics to children's books, you never know what she's gonna cook when Gretchen makes novel moms.
This week I was getting nostalgic about the books of my childhood, and one of my favorite series of books was the Little House on the Prairie books. When Mr. Edwards came to visit them, and it was Christmas time, and he brought with him sweet potatoes and blackberries, and it was their Christmas dinner was a beautiful turkey. And I thought, you know, what a great example of just simple, good food, and no matter what century it is, no matter what you have on hand, you have these basic ingredients, you can make something delicious. Inspired by Little House on the Prairie, we're going to make a roast chicken with some sweet potato pancakes and a blackberry jalapeno sauce. What I loved about the books, Little House on the Prairie, was it really showed you their life and how hard it was, but also how joyful it was, and they just had simple pleasures like sitting around the fire and talking and eating wonderful, just basic food. I just have a basic chicken, and now this is the gross part, but you gotta take out all the little guts on the inside, which are usually the heart and the liver and that kind of stuff. Take it out from the cavity. Some people have cooked it with that in it. I won't judge you. I've never done it, but it's been done. It's okay if you've done it and didn't know there was stuff in there. You also want to wash the entire chicken to get any, stuff off there that you don't want to be eating. So I just wash my chicken and I have it on a baking dish over a cooling rack, just like a cookie rack that you would use. First, what we need to do is make a rub for the chicken, something that's going to spice it. And I have my little handy dandy mini food processor. In there, I'm going to put a tablespoon of butter or margarine, whichever you prefer. And I also have a tablespoon of olive oil. I'm going to add in 2 bay leaves, sage, probably, I don't know, about a tablespoon or so, rosemary. I don't know if y'all know the song from the 70s, which I absolutely can't stand because my music teacher in the 2nd grade made us sing it about 1,000 times. I think it was sung by Simon and Garfunkel. It's called Scarborough Fair or whatever, parsley, sage, rosemary, thyme. I don't enjoy that song. However, that is a good kind of little rule of thumb. When you're making poultry, those are the greatest herbs to put in there to make it taste even yummier. And I'm going to put some garlic in there. Give it a whack. Put it in my food processor. If you like garlic, you can always put more in there. It's kind of good as a rule of thumb to put like minimal in there and then add if you want more, because you can't take that away. So I'm going to take a lemon. I want to show you a little trick. A lot of people have like those juicers, like those special juicers. They use like a juicing machine. Take a spoon. You're just going to turn the spoon. Just keep turning the spoon. It will juice the lemon for you. I'm also going to keep the rest of that lemon because I'm going to use that in a second. I'll show you how. If you want to add some cayenne, some spicy cumin, like whatever like wonderful herbs you love. It smells fantastic. I don't think that Ma Ingalls had a food processor, nor do I know that she did this preparation. I know that you could just use butter. If you didn't have a food processor, you could mix butter and your herbs, fresh herbs, dried herbs, all up by hand. Do the same thing. Just enjoy technology. I don't know about you. Okay, so now I'm going to take my chicken and you're going to lift up down by where the cavity is. You're going to lift up on the skin. And I want to kind of separate the skin from the meat of the chicken. You could use a knife. So you're taking it, basically separating it from the chicken breast. Because the breasts are the the leanest part, so you're not going to get as much flavor, as much fat as you will with the dark meat, which is naturally just that much more juicy. So here's what you're going to do. So now that we've got that all separated, I'm just going to use my hands. I'm going to take some of that mixture, and you're just going to slather that under the skin. So you can even just pull the whole skin back. Just slather, slather, slather. Okay, so we got that beautiful flavor on our chicken breast, and you're going to pull the skin back. The cool thing thing about that too, if you don't want to eat the skin of the chicken because of the fat content, you've just seasoned the whole chicken, not just the skin. Because a lot of times we get chicken and you put stuff all over it and then you cook it and then you take the skin off because you want to eat it. It's still going to have some of that flavor, but it's going to have so much more because we put it underneath. So I'm going to put some more just all over. A lot of this, the fats, the oil, and the butter are going to cook off, and it's just going to make the skin crispy. Just slather, slather, slather. It's going to be delicious. Now I'm going to wash my hands. And a couple more things. And again, make sure you wash your hands because you are handling poultry. I'm going to put some pepper. Sprinkle it on there. And I'm going to use some sea salt and spill it everywhere. You're supposed to throw that over your shoulder. Use sea salt for this because A, I love the big pieces of salt. I like the texture of it. But sea salt actually has a lot more flavor than iodized regular table salt. That's very processed. Sea salt, it's been cultivated. They say that it has like lots of different flavors in it, not just plain old salt. So you don't just get salt flavor, but you get some other little nuances that can add a lot to your food. So I'm just going to put a nice little sprinkle, get it everywhere. We're going to take an onion, take some onion, and that part of the onion, that's going to be for what we're going to do with it in a minute. Now this part of the onion, I want big pieces. All I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off that big root end, cut it in two. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to stuff that piece of onion in my lemon. Next thing I'm going to do, sprinkle it with whatever other of those herbs that I already used. Put a little bit of herb, a little bit of sage, a little bit of rosemary. I'm going to take this. First, you're going to apologize to the chicken for what you're about to do. So you're going to take that whole lemon, onion, herby mixture and you're going to shove it into the cavity. All right, chicken. Okay, there you go. And I want to make sure that all the goodies, all the onion and stuff are pointed this way. As you'll notice, the end of the lemon is out so that I'm keeping all those flavors inside. And what's going to happen is as this cooks and it steams, that flavor is going to come up through the chicken and it's going to give it that much extra flavor. Now, there's another option that you can have. You can actually buy these in any kitchen store. It's kind of like a tea ball if you like your tea, like the loose leaf tea. It's the same idea except it's a spice ball. And if you had fresh herbs or like a bunch of stuff that is going to get all over and you want to be able to pull it out real quickly, you can just open it up. You can also do this for soups. Stick your herbs in there, close it, right in the old chicken cavity. Okay, we're just going to use the lemon as a way to kind of keep everything in there. Good. You're going to take some water, put it in the bottom of your pan. Not too much. The water is going to help it steam it and cook it, and it's going to mesh with all those yummy juices. And then I'm just going to take that cut onion and tuck it underneath, because again, it's going to steam and add some extra flavor to my sauce that we're going to have later, and it's going to add flavor to my chicken. That, my friends, is a roast chicken. Now let me just tell you, if you didn't do any of what we just did, you just put the chicken on the rack, on the pan, with some water, and maybe just put some olive oil, salt, and pepper on the outside, it will still taste delicious. It's not a big, difficult undertaking, but this is just going to add extra flavor to it. And this is something, too, that I like to cook at the beginning of the week, and then I have it all week long for lunches and for dinners, and it's just so delicious. All right, so I'm going to put this in a 425-degree oven. It's going to take about 45 minutes, an hour-ish, depending on the size of your chicken. I told you I like gadgets. And again, I doubt Miss Ingalls would have dreamed of something like this. But poultry should be 170 degrees if it's cooked. But you can get little cheapo meat thermometers at the grocery store and whatever, like Bed Bath & Beyond. You want to stick the meat thermometer, I have an electric one, a little battery operated one that will actually beep when it's done, in the thickest part of the chicken. So I'm going to stick it into the breast. But you don't want to hit bone, so don't go straight in. I want to kind of go in through the breast. and thread it through a little bit, like that. And just stop before you hit bone. So now that our chicken is in our oven, I'm going to make our sweet potatoes. So this was a cool thing. When Mr. Edwards in the book, when he comes to see the family, the Ingalls, for the first time, or when they moved into their cabin, he brings the girls each a tin cup, a penny, and a candy cane, and then he slips some sweet potatoes to the mother to cook with the dinner. And because this was like a special treat. And sweet potatoes are great because they're filling. I actually found these sweet potatoes. They're not the typical like orange sweet potatoes that you would find. They're a white variety that actually are a little bit sweeter. But in like general, yams are sweeter than sweet potatoes. You could use yams instead if you want a sweeter flavor. But I'm just going to peel this. My husband's much better at peeling than I am. I have like those potato peelers, like the kind, but I have it wound up in the emergency room more times than I care to remember because I have grated off my knuckles. I swear to you, both of my thumb knuckles I've grated off. So I'm just going to chop this up. I take my sweet potato. I just want to cook this in boiling water on the stove until it's fully cooked all the way through. I'm going to let those cook and I'll be right back as soon as they're ready to go. Okay, so it's been about, I don't know, 45 minutes-ish, and the temperature on the chicken is 161, which remember, pop quiz, what was it supposed to be? 170. So it's not done, right? Yes, but it'll keep cooking after I take it out of the oven, so it'll help to seal in the juices. If I take it out right at 170, it'll probably be a little overcooked by the time I'm ready to eat it. So let's take it out. Oh my goodness. Look at that pretty chicken. Herbs on there, it's all crusted, the skin's all crispy. Yummy. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of tin foil and I'm gonna cover the chicken and I'm gonna let it continue to drop some of the juices into my pan, and I'm gonna use that in a second and finish cooking and get even juicier. Now we're gonna make our sweet potato pancakes. So I've got my cooked sweet potato, it's all drained and ready to go. I've also left the sweet potato cool because I'm going to add some egg to it, and I don't want the egg to cook while I am mixing it up and get all gross. So just mash it up, just like you'd mash any kind of potato. So I've got 1 tablespoon of brown sugar, I've got some cinnamon, and I've got some cumin, which is a really yummy, smoky, like Middle Eastern, very like wonderful spice that I love to use. That's going to give it like extra little kick. Just going to mix that up, get it all incorporated into the sweet potato. And just a little tiny pinch of black pepper, a little pinch of salt, and 1 tablespoon of flour. I'm using gluten-free flour. Use whatever flour you have. The last thing is 1 egg. Whole egg. Okay, now we're going to saute these in a little bit of oil. So all I'm going to do is heat up this pan, get it nice and hot. I'm going to add just a touch of oil, maybe just like a teaspoon. Get that in there to coat my pan. Spoonful, drop it into the oil. But you wanted to get it to cook, and it's going to start to cook obviously from the bottom to the top. So wait till it looks about cooked halfway through, and then you're going to flip them over. You only want to flip them once. Now we're going to serve this with a Blackberry Jalapeno sauce, which is spicy and sweet at the same time, and savory and wonderful. But this is something you could make as a dessert. Again, add a little extra brown sugar, maybe some nutmeg and stuff, and you could have them with some maple syrup if you wanted to have those for breakfast. If you wanted to make regular potato pancakes, you could have them with little sour cream and chives, would be delicious, or a little bit of dill. You could really play around a lot with these. Just flipping them over. Probably left them a little too long on that side, but you're gonna. If you have your burner on high, by the way, you're gonna burn the crap out of these. So make sure it's like, you know, medium to medium high, because that, remember, the olive oil has a lower smoke point, so it's gonna burn faster. So now what you want to do is you want to touch each one of them to make sure they should have a little bit of give, but they shouldn't like squish a lot. So let's check them. Perfect. Put a couple of those on my plate. Now we're gonna make our sauce. All right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take the foil for the chicken, spread it out here. I'm gonna take my chicken, just let that sit and cool down a little bit. Now I've got all these beautiful, let me show you this. These roasted chicken juices. You've got onion in there, you've got spices in there, and obviously the chicken flavor. I'm gonna put just a little bit of that into my saucepan. I'm gonna add into it some blackberries. I'm gonna mash up the blackberries a little bit just to help them along in the sauce, to get them incorporated into that broth. Mush, mush, mush. I'm gonna take a jalapeno. Probably just gonna put about, just because I'm making a small serving just for myself, I'm just gonna put just a little bit of a really, really fine dice of jalapeno. Tiny, 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 tiny pieces. See all this? And I'm gonna stick those into my sauce. It's gonna give it a little heat. It's gonna balance out the sweetness really, really well. Let that kind of cook and get good. I'm gonna put 1 teaspoon of brown sugar. And last but not least, just like a couple tablespoons of some balsamic vinegar. Kind of bring out the flavors of that chicken, because remember we put garlic and lemon in it. We're gonna squeeze just a little bit of lemon. So my sauce, you'll see it's gotten a little bit thick, and it sticks to my spoon. See how it sticks to the coats of the spoon? That's about the consistency you want. You could keep reducing this, it'll get thicker and thicker and thicker. The flavors change the more you reduce it. Now, here's the thing. You could get super fancy pants with this, and you could put this through a strainer, and then you have this pure, very like just plain sauce without all these bits in there. I like the bits. I think they're good pieces of yumminess. Besides, I don't think my Ingalls would be straining out bits. They want those bits. They need those bits. This is it. Now, in fancier circles, this is called a gastrique. I know, it's a reduction. It's a sauce. And we're going to put a little bit of it on the plate. It's kind of like a little bed for our chicken. My husband does a better job of cutting the chicken than I do, but I'm just going to take a nice piece of that chicken breast. Meat always looks better when you slice it and kind of fan it out a little bit. And then you could take the sauce, maybe put a little extra on your pancakes, maybe a little extra on the top of your chicken. It's up to you. Let's try it. The chicken breast is juicy. And let me tell you, I can taste the garlic, I can taste all those spices. Let's try the potato pancake. Ooh, that's really good. It's got a nice little zing that you get from the spice of the jalapeno, and the lemon kind of picks it up a little bit. And the blackberry isn't like, ooh, hello, there's blackberries in it, but it's just enough that you taste that sweetness, but it's still really savory and delicious. This is amazing. If I do say so myself. I love this. It's simple, it's good, it's stuff that you can have in your refrigerator, in your pantry. I remember when I was a kid, we used to play in this one like wooded area, and there were actually blackberries and raspberries growing wild, and there's nothing better than those wonderful, fresh, like perfect ingredients. Chicken, sweet potatoes, blackberries. Hello. Go read Little House on the Prairie, the whole series of books, or just watch the show because they're equally just delightful. So I'm going to devour my beautiful chicken and sweet potato with blackberry jalapeno gastrique, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next time on Noms.
From classics to children's books, you never know what she's gonna cook when Gretchen makes novel moms.